Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening. How is everybody today? Let me see if I can look in the chat and get some ones or twos from you guys. Somebody send me a one or a two. Ah, good. I got one from right here at Diamond Mountain, one from Amirta. Amirta, I think I saw that you may have taken bodhisattva vows online yesterday with Venerable Gyaltse and others. Congratulations. That's amazing. That's wonderful. So I'm still here at beautiful Diamond Mountain. Marina, can we have the next slide? Next slide, please. So this is a sunrise that I took a picture of several days ago here at Diamond Mountain. And it's a very, very beautiful place. Geshe Michael has begun teaching Diamond Way teachings at this retreat. And it was a bit surprising to all of us and exciting. Yes, Svetlana, today. And a bit unexpected because he told us he would offer Diamond Way in 2026, but he's teaching it now. So it's very exciting. And people are here from around the world. Here at Diamond Mountain, we're packed tight, and there's 2,000 people online most days. So it's a very exciting time. May I have the next slide? The next one. Okay, back to work. So last week, we saw many Devanagari versions of compound consonants. And I know that we all understand that we do not have to obsess about them, right? We will see compound consonants very, very frequently, and we will deal with them in organic context as they come up. And I know that Marina sent everyone a Word document with a comprehensive list of compound consonants. And I spelled compound wrong there, I see. And you can consult this list whenever you want to figure something out, or maybe you might wish to practice writing some of them, not all of them, please, okay? It's just a reference tool. All right, next slide. All right, we're going to sing the vowel song. Everybody, please, please, please open your microphones, and we're just going to sing it because you know it by now. This is the vowel song. I hope my voice is not too rough this morning. All right, 1, 2, 3.
I, I, U, R,
R,
Lir, Lir, A, I, O,
Great, good job on those visargas. And now we're going to sing the consonant song, just the main 25. Varga 1, and we'll just go through the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. Ka,
Ga, Ka,
ra, cha, cha,
Ma,
ta,
Ga, Na,
ta,
Ta, Da, Na,
pa,
Pa, Ma.
Great, you guys know your stuff. Awesome. Okay, so someone please tell me what are the 8 remaining consonants that are not in the consonant song? We don't recite them, just tell me. Who remembers?
Ya, ra, la, sa.
Well, almost.
Va.
Yes.
Ya, ra, la, va.
Very good. That's the
Then
4. And what are the last 4?
ha, sha, sha, and sa.
Perfect. Okay, so those are our 33 consonants. Good. So we need to know that for anything and everything that we do. All right. Next review. Please, the next slide, Marina. Okay, here's our noun. Yoga declined. So we are going to go through this and just recite it aloud, looking at the different cases all the way across. And again, we'll just go through the whole thing, and please go through it with me. So on the count of 3, we'll start. 1, 2, 3. Yoga.
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 Yogam.
Yogam. Yoga. Yogan. Yogena.
Yoga.
Pyam.
Yoga.
Yoga. Yogaya.
Yoga.
Yoga Pyam.
Yoga.
Pya.
Yoga.
Yogat.
Yoga.
Yoga Pyam.
Yoga.
Pya.
Yogasya.
Geshe.
Yoga.
Yoga.
Yoho. Yoganam.
Yoganam.
Good. Yoge.
Yoge.
Yoho. And yogeshu.
Yogesho.
Vocative. Yoga.
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 Yoga. Yoga.
All right. Wonderful. Okay. So, not yet. Let's go back a little bit. I wanted to ask if, thank you, Marina. Has anyone had a chance to create an index card with the, ideally with the ayast on one side and the Devanagari on the other side? Anyone had a chance to do that yet?
I will do this after our lesson, Sanskrit.
Good,
I
good.
don't have enough time for this, sorry.
I understand completely, and I was just about to warn you that it will probably take you an hour to do this, and maybe several tries, several cards, but it is worth doing it. And I want to ask also if anyone had a chance to recite this entire declension, either looking at a chart or from memory, which would be ideal. And I'm guessing not yet. I do recommend those 2 actions. And if you have no time absolutely at all to do either of those, then just print this page from the PowerPoint if you can. Let me know if you need any help with a different format, and put it on the wall or the refrigerator or somewhere, and look at it from time to time. Because the more familiar you become with these declensions, with these declined endings, the easier your ongoing work will be. Okay.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Is this right that the end of this word is always the same for all words?
Is what the same for all words? The endings here?
Yes.
That's a good question. And no, they aren't. They are always the same for masculine nouns ending in short but feminine nouns have different endings and neuter nouns have different endings. The reason, though, that this is very important to memorize is that one of the good news pieces about Sanskrit is that maybe 70 or 80% of nouns are masculine nouns ending in short So it will be very, very helpful. There are many fewer feminine nouns and neuter nouns, and many, many fewer different groupings of nouns with different endings. But by no means are these the only endings you will see. No, they are very popular endings, though. Okay. So at worst comes to worst, take a picture of this chart on your phone so we can look at it through the class. Then we won't have to torture Marina with putting up split screens, which are difficult in Zoom. Okay. Now, are there any questions about the different flavors of the different cases? What they mean, what they tell us about the usage of the word in a sentence. And you may not have any questions yet, but I want to know if any have arisen for you yet. For example, if I wanted to express possession, if there was a noun that had something that it belonged to or that it belonged to, what case would I typically use? When we had our example of the benefits of yoga are great. So,
Like a genitive case?
yes, exactly, Tatiana, and I think that was Julia, genitive case. Exactly. And what about if you wanted to express by means of, I drink my coffee by means of this cup?
Instrumental?
Instrumental, exactly. That's exactly right. And what about if I wanted to say, I left my book in the car? If I wanted to talk about the car, having left the book in the car, what case would I use?
No.
Locative.
Locative, good. All right, you guys have the basics of the cases down beautifully. All right, now I've been promising some vocabulary for a long time, but we just never got to it. So let's start with that today. Next slide, please. And Marina sent me a file, but I don't know what's in the file.
I sent everyone this is exactly
Everyone?
yes.
Okay, so look in your chat. Marina beautifully sent us the wonderful chat declension chart. So you don't even have to take a picture on your phone. Great. All right, so here is some vocabulary. So let's go through these words and notice things. Okay, but oh yeah, Marina, we have to upload Sanskrit 2005 into your computer because these are Mongol. This is a font. And some of the words, like the third word, are not actually the combinations I want to see. But that's okay. We'll deal. All right. So let's look at the first word. Who can pronounce it for me? Open your mouth.
Nirmala.
Yes. All right. Say that with proper accents. Pretend I have my drum.
Nirmala.
Perfect. Nirmala. Perfect. Everything is the same weight. 3 short vowels. Now, what are those 2 things written on top of the sutra in the Devanagari?
Short,
Sorry, one at a time. Yes.
short E.
Short I. is the first one with the hook going to the left. Thank you, Kathy. And what's that second mark above the sutra?
I think it's R.
It's R. Is it a vowel or a consonant, semi-vowel?
Semi-vowel.
Consonant.
Consonant. The consonant R is written above the sutra, and the vowel is written below. So if you look at the IAST here, a vocalic R will always have a dot under it. In the IAST for Nirmala, is there a dot under the R?
No.
No. So it's not a vowel. In this case, it is a consonant, and it's actually an example of a compound consonant. Because if we look at the IAST, which is just easier for us at this point, we see that the R and the M are together with no vowel in between. So that's the way you would write a compound consonant with the semi-vowel R. Good. All right. Let's see. In Kula, how do you know? Well, let me ask. What is that last character, that last letter in the Devanagari? What is it?
L.
La. And is it because we know the semivowels are ya, ra, la, va? Is it a semivowel or is it a vowel? Lir, lir.
It's a semi-vowel.
Semivowel. Same reasoning with the R. If that L in Kula were a vowel, it would have a dot under it. And what about the Devanagari? What would that letter have if it was a vocalic L?
A curl under the L.
Yes, it would have an extra curl at the right-hand edge that would go up a little, right? And there is none there. Well, I was very excited to show you the third word in Devanagari, but because we don't have the right font yet, it's written in not a way that I want to have it written. So we won't spend too much time on that. But how would you say this word?
Kalanka. Kalanka.
Kalonka. And what sort of nasal is that? What varga?
It's second varga.
Get a hint from the Devanagari because they've written it actually as it is written. Second varga?
Or first.
First varga. It's a first varga no. It's guttural. So you put your tongue way back.
Correct.
Yeah. Kalonka. Kalonka. And the way the Devanagari decided to write itself, it's just the two consonants in a row with a virama underneath it. So don't pay attention to that. That's not the way it's really supposed to look. I will get a good graphic of it for you and send it to you in the Telegram chat after class. All right, let's look at the fourth one. What is that there?
It's na.
Na.
No.
And I think intuitively we know what this means, and we've heard enough Sanskrit in Buddhist studies. What does it mean, do you think? What does it sound like? Nah, nah, nah.
Like-
No.
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 It's not. And generally because it's such a short sort of a particle. What? Does someone have a question? No? Because it's such a short particle, almost always it's combined with whatever word it precedes. So you rarely see it stand alone. but you will see it attached to other words. And because of that, you have to really look carefully to see if it's part of the word or it's the negative particle. So that's a challenge when Sanskrit is written all together, but we will get used to it. Okay, so
Christina,
yes,
is this a letter of namaste then or not?
no, it's a perfect example. Namaste is the word nama, which means greeting or bowing. So you might think, reasonably enough, that the na in namaste was the negative na, but it is not. And the only way you really get to understand this is through the context in the sentence and getting more familiar with vocabulary words so that you will know instinctively and through study that nama is a verb meaning greet. But that is the great question, and that's exactly what I meant. But for instance, if we learn a little bit about the verb is, and the third person singular of is asti. So you might see a word nasti, which means it is not.
All right.
But again, it's context. So we'll have to be extra diligent and extra analytical as we go through. Okay, then the next to the last word, someone say that one for me. Get the long one short correct.
Yep.
Ved.
Say again.
Last word?
No, next to the last.
Right, sorry. Bave.
Ved.
Lave.
Ved.
Haved.
Andreas, say that again.
Ved.
Yes, that's the right pronunciation. Why?
A is
So no
always
vowel.
Yeah, the A is always long. So always for 2 beats. Question? Kathy, say that one for me again.
bave.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, baved. And what is that thing at the end of the word there?
Virama.
Virama. And what does virama signify?
The D in the fourth varga does not have a vowel attached to it.
Right, it's just baved. So normally if we see a letter with no vowel markings on it, we would assume an attached. But when virama is put there, it means there is no vowel. It's just baved. So when you see this in context, if the following word starts with a consonant, that d is going to become a compound consonant with whatever word follows it, because there's no vowel. It's just baved. And let's see. When we conjugate verbs, which we have done very little of so far, many of them do end in a consonant without a vowel. So we'll just expect to see that. And finally, what is that last word there? Who can pronounce that? Paying special attention to long and short vowels.
Yatha.
Yatha, perfect. Yes, and that's a lovely word. Let's see, what varga is that ta?
Fourth varga.
Fourth varga. What characteristics, hard or soft, or what? Tell me about it.
It's aspirated. It's in the fourth column. Sorry, second column.
Second column, it's aspirated, right? And what does the second column mean in terms
It's hard.
of hard? It's a hard aspirated ta. Perfect. Yes, good. And let's see, did I have another comment about yata? Let's see. Oh, I mean, the only other thing that may be worth noting about yata is how that ta breaks the sutra. So not too many letters break the sutra. Which other ones do you know?
Ha and ha.
Ba,
And
ba,
yeah, ba breaks it. What was the other one you said?
Dha.
Ta, that we see here, yes. And one other, think first varga, not first varga, fourth varga.
Is the bah?
Baha, yes, and that's the baha in Baha Ved, right above, that's the one. We see the ta in yata, and what's the one that isn't there? Think fourth varga, review that in your mind.
Da.
The da in dharma, yes, that breaks the line. There may be a couple of others, but those are the ones that come to mind. All right, let's try the next slide. Marina's probably busy producing 2 other events. Next slide when you have a chance, Marina. Okay, sorry about the tabs. They got screwed up a little bit, but so here's some meanings of these wonderful words. So nirmala, all 3 beats are short. It's an adjective, and in this form, nirmala, because it ends in short it's a masculine version of the adjective. Adjectives always have at least 3 versions: masculine, feminine, and neuter. This one, because it's ending in short is a masculine version of the adjective. And it's a compound word. And we saw last week, I think, what it meant. And we even had a Sanskrit synonym because we know so much Sanskrit now. We know double words for some things. What was the synonym for nirmala, which means stainless?
Vimala.
Vimala, yes. And it's not V because it's a short I. So it's vimala. So you will notice that second part of the word is similar in both of them. But here, nir is a prefix that negates whatever the word is. And mala is just a word meaning stain. So here it's something that is not stained. Okay, now what is the second word there? Someone pronounce it for me, paying attention to long and short.
kula.
Kula. Very good. And it's a word that means family. In our tradition, it often connotes the Buddha family, but it does just mean family. Now, why did I say only masculine singular here? Why did I not give a case? Look at your chart that Marina sent and see if kula occurs anywhere in this
So
form.
yeah, it's a vocabulary form, so it's not a case.
Exactly. So we are going to deal with, I like to call them dictionary forms
Dictionary form, yeah.
of the word. That's not an official term, but all of these vocabulary items that we are seeing, not all of them, but almost all of them, will be just an artificial form of the noun that we use to discuss it. But Really, it's not declined at all, is it? Unless you talk about vocative singular. All of those 24 forms of kula or yoga will have different endings from this one. And this is just really a declension, a non-declined dictionary version. If you remove the A from kula, you'll get what the grammarians call the stem form. So you would just have KUL dash stem form. And on that form, you put all the endings that you have in your declension chart of yoga for a masculine noun ending in short a. So for instance, what would the dative plural of kula be?
Yeah.
Kulabhyas.
Not kulabhyas, that's genitive, I think.
Ulebya.
Kulabhyam.
Kulabhyam. Let me look at my chart, see, I need to.
That's genitive.
The dative plural would be kulebhyaha. Look at your charts, find the D, go all the way to the right, and you see for yoga, the stem form would be YOG, and the ending is abhyaha, right? Does that make sense? So if you added that ending abhyaha to kul, you get kulebhyaha. So that's how you put together a stem form and a case ending. Okay. So just to be sure this is clear, what would the stem form of yoga be, and how would you arrive at that?
The stem form of yoga.
Yoga.
The stem
Yog.
form would be yog.
Yog. Yog. So onto yog, you would put all those endings. So we see it because it's already declined for us in our chart, but it would be things like yogaha, yogao, yogaha on that YOG stem. Okay, great. Right, let's go to the next verse, next slide.
Christina,
Yes.
is a root the same as a stem?
No, great question. Roots are usually verbal in basis, although they form nouns and verbs. And that would be something we put the root sign in front of, generally 2 or 3 letters. And we had last week for karyam, we had the root being kur. And then typically in grammar, we add the third person singular form. So we'd have the root kur and the third person singular form of the verb karote. Kur karote. Now that is a great question, Kathy, because that takes us back even one level farther into the origins and ways of forming Sanskrit. And we can make all kinds of words out of kar, karoti. But when we have a stem form, we've already made a noun and we're just using a basic form of the stem from that noun to add other endings onto.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice, kar, it only has 2 letters. Yeah. So you have to make a noun that you can then break down into a stem. You have to add something because Kar just doesn't denote anything. It's not even a verb. Karoti is a verb, but kar is just a root. So you got to add stuff to roots to make either verbs or nouns. So for instance, karoti, we add all that stuff and we get a verb. Karma, we add all that stuff and we get a noun. So it's a more basic ingredient than a stem. Make sense?
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. So,
Christina,
yes,
you said to make a noun, but I can use the root to also create verbs, correct?
yes, you can create anything out of a raw root. It's the most, let's say, the most primal element of a Sanskrit word. And it doesn't have any aspect or content of its own. Like you couldn't use kar for anything until you add things to it to make either a verb or a noun. Yeah, so it's neutral in the sense of its format. Other questions?
So we have already one raster with the verb endings and one raster with the noun endings at the moment.
At the
Yeah.
moment, for kar, we know that karoti means he, she, or it does, or he, she, or it makes. And we know a whole bunch of nouns already. We know karma because we talk about it all the time. And in our verse, which conveniently appears here, the very first line, that third Devanagari word is what, Kathy? Can you read that? Or can someone read the third Devanagari word?
Maya.
That's the third I asked word.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Different.
Karyam.
Karyam. So here we know karma. Here we have karyam. Karyam from kar. And if we look now, change to the I asked, and we look at the very last word in the first line, what is that word?
Karinam. Karinam.
Karinam.
Karinam.
Exactly. Good catch. Karinam. So to Kathy's question, we now know at least 3 words from the root karoti, which is he, she, or it does. Karyam, which is the thing to be done, and karinam, which is the doer. And then we also have karma, which is just a basic Sanskrit word that means act. We put all sorts of fancy meanings onto that, but at its basis, it just means act, deed, something that's done. So you see how the root can give rise to all kinds of things if you add enough letters in. Okay, good. Okay, let's recite this first. Can anyone recite the first line there, paying attention to longs and shorts?
Can I try?
Yes, please.
Tatha dhuna maya karyam svakulochita karinam.
Perfect. Wow. That was excellent. It was absolutely perfect. Who can try the second line?
I also can try.
Yeah.
Nirmalasya kulasyasya kalanko nabhavet yatha.
Excellent. I would add a little extra emphasis to the bhaved,
Nabhaved yatha.
especially as we learn, but you said it absolutely correctly. That was great. All right, now, is there a non-Russian speaker here who can pronounce that second word in the I asked for us? Non-Russian speaker. Too easy for you guys.
Yes, I will.
Ulasya.
Good job, Andreas. But not normally easy for more Western languages, if I may characterize Russian temporarily as more Eastern, which it's not, I know. Ulasya. For some Western tongues, it's difficult to say sya, but we might need to practice that kind of thing. Okay. So looking at the Devanagari, can someone find the word Nirmalasya there? Which word is, where is that?
First
First word in the first line or the second line?
word in the second line.
Nirmalasya, there it is. And we already know that nir is a prefix denoting negativity, and mala is a word meaning stain. So here, this word means no stain. We can translate it as stainless, or we can go farther and translate it as purity, something that has no stain. So what kind of ending is that on Nirmalasya? What case?
Dative singular. No?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
It's genitive singular.
Genitive singular, Nirmalasya. Very good. So how would you translate that raw, not in context, but what would be a way of translating that? What's the quality of the genitive case?
It is owned by. It
Yeah.
is an attribute of.
Yes.
So something is stainless or something is pure or has purity.
Yes. And we might use the English word in translation of, like if I said it is the book of me, I could say my deed
Purity of.
of purity, right? My karma nirmalasya, deed of purity, for instance. Here we will wrestle later with the translation, but it's a genitive case. Okay, now, what about, let me see if oh yeah, okay. So let's take this opportunity to examine three things about Nirmalasya. What are those two marks above the sutra? And we already reviewed this a little bit. What's the
E and R.
say again? I didn't hear.
E and R. R.
Er. And the first one is the short I.
Short E. Short
I. Not E, I.
E.
And the second mark is the semivowel ra. And, well, yes, thank you. And what is that letter at the end? It's not something we learned in our
At the
Devanagari.
end of the word.
At the end of Nirmalasya.
Compound.
Yeah.
Compound consonant.
Yes, it's a compound consonant, and we get our hint from the I asked, but which two letters are stuck together there?
Sa
Sa
and ya.
and ya.
Correct, sa and ya. So you see how that works? It's not something we learned in our Devanagari writing exercises, but it's fairly clear when you really look at it. Andreas, you have a question.
Yeah, previously in a previous slide, you had Kalanko, and you said the Devanagari was incorrect there. Is it correct here? I haven't seen that compound consonant written
Yes.
like that, one on top of the other.
Exactly. This is the way the compound consonant would be written. The way it was written in the previous slide, because of the font that's loaded in Marina's computer, was not a good way of writing it. This is the way that compound consonant would be written. But, well, let's take a look at that now, actually. So if we look at the word kalanko, we see the ka. What's the next letter we see? Second? No, I don't have it marked on this slide yet. We're going to go back to that one. We're on the third word in the Devanagari in the second line. Not that one. Go back to the first slide with no markers. Yeah. Kalanko is the third word in the second line in the Devanagari. And the first letter is ka. What's the second letter?
La.
La.
La is a vowel or semivowel?
Semivowel.
Semivowel. And why do we know that?
There's no curve.
Curl, right?
Oh,
And now let's look at this magnificent third letter. Oh my goodness, look at that. So if you look at the I asked, what two consonants do we think this compound consonant represents?
Nga and ka.
And ka. And look how they are written, one on top of the other, which is often the case for compound consonants, not always. But if you look at the sya in Nirmalasya, you see they're written next to each other. In Kalanko, the n and the ka are written on top of each other. That's another very common way a compound consonant is created. But now that we're at it, let's look at the very last word in that line. Can someone read the last Devanagari for me? Don't look at the I asked for this reason, but look at the Devanagari. You may not be able.
Devanagari of what? Of which one?
The last word in the last line. You may not be able to, but see if you can give it a try. You can do the first two syllables. Ba,
Yeah.
The compound consonant of the d and y.
yes. If you look
Yeah.
Bav, Ved, Ya, Ta. And if you look at the I asked, we can solve the mystery, because it is a little bit of a mystery. In the previous slide, we looked at Baved, and it had a virama after it because it was standing alone. But here, Baved is combined with the following word, which is yata. So what do we have to do with that D and that Y since we've squished them together? We put them together in the line, so there's no vowel in between them. So we're writing a D and a Y together. What kind of form is that? We've just been studying it. What kind of consonant?
Compound.
Yes, it becomes a compound consonant for the sole reason that we're squishing them together and there's no vowel in between them. So we have to create a new letter called the dia. And there it is for you. You can see the ba in ba, the v in ve, and that next thing is dia. It's a dental da and a semi-vowel ya squished together, and that's what it looks like. So just absorb that for a minute. If you go back and look at Nirmalasya, that compound consonant is pretty easy to figure out. Sa and ya. If we look at Kalanko, that compound consonant, however gnarly it is to say, is pretty easy to figure out. But if we look at that letter, Bavedyata, that dia, Bavedyata, there's no way to figure that out. That's one you would have to look in your big chart of compound consonants to figure out, right? Does anyone actually see a the and a ya in there?
No.
Because I don't.
Yeah,
The and ya.
yeah.
I mean, we could rationalize it at this point. We could say the top loop is the da and the bottom loop is the ya. But come on, not really, yeah? You really have to know this. And it's a good one to learn because it is fairly frequent. You will rarely see that m and k combination, but you will quite often see the d and ya combination. So this is what I meant when I said that we would begin to understand compound consonants organically. We'll deal with them as they come up in real words in our real texts. And that's the beauty of organic Sanskrit. So there is a dia. Okay. So
Christina,
yeah.
which font is it that we need to install? Because I can't recreate the Devanagari on my computer.
Yes, you will have to download a font. My favorite font and Geshe-la's favorite font is something called Sanskrit 2003. That's the name of the font. It is provided free of charge with a request for a donation from some place called something like the Himalayan Retreat Research Center or something. I'll find it and I'll send it to you in the chat. But you go online and you go to this site and they will give you an option to download Sanskrit 2003, which is the most beautiful font in my opinion, just my opinion. If you're using MS Word, it comes with a default font called Mangal, and I dislike it very much. And that is the one you saw on the previous slide. And it doesn't treat compound consonants well. It just sort of puts one consonant with the virama and the next consonant. And that is not the way you will see compound consonants written in texts. So please, if you can, do download Sanskrit 2003 from the internet. And if you feel so inspired, you can give them a small donation, but it is technically free. And I don't know anything about that, so I can't tell you much about them. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Oh my gosh, we're almost out of time. This is so, it's great to have the questions and to clarify things. Let's take a quick pass at finding the word kulasasyasya in the Devanagari of this phrase, verse. Where is Kulasyasya located?
Second word in, yeah, Cassie.
Second word in the second line. Excellent. Okay, and we all, even us English speakers can now say it. Kulasyasya. And there is a long A there. So let's go to the next slide. No, not that one. There's one with a purple marker that we saw before. Yeah, there it is. And Kula, as we know, means what? Do you remember?
Family.
Family. And we often use it in our tradition as family of the Buddhas. Okay. So what kind of ending is that on this word?
That also genitive singular.
That is a genitive singular. And why do you think it has a long A? Does our declension chart have a long A in the genitive singular?
No.
Doesn't.
No. Okay. So here, if we look carefully at this word, kula is the stem of this word, right? And we see that it has kulasya, and then it has another asya. So we got the ending asya put onto this word twice. So we could technically translate this as kulasya is of the family or of the Buddha family, right? Kulasyasya, we could say, is belonging to the condition or state of belonging to a Buddha family, right? So this is a challenging word. And let's go to the next slide. I don't think we'll have too much time, but we'll get started.
Why is it then a long
I'm
here?
gonna discuss that when we see the next slide.
Mhm.
See, there's the question. Why is that? Oh, go to the next slide where you just were, Marina. Yes. One more. Yeah. Why is that long in kulasyasya? Okay, so we already established that the genitive singular does not have a long at the end. So let's break it up. So we see kula, which we know is family, and then we can see kulasya there, right? No long A there. It means of the family. So we know that to get the stem form, we take that A off the dictionary form and we add asya, and there it is, kulasya. In this usage, however, we're adding another asya. So we're adding a quality of possessiveness to an already genitive construction. Kulasyasya. So kulasya plus asya. Kulasya ends with an A, and the new ending, asya, again, begins with an A. So you see that last bullet, it would be kulasyasya. But we can't have two short A's together. So when we have this kind of combination, those two short A's become a long And that is why that A in kulasyasya is long. Two short A's together. The A on the end of kulasya and the A at the beginning of the ending asya, which very confusingly we are putting on again. Amirta. Yes, the Sanskrit authors are all geniuses, and it's very subtle and very powerful. And we will spend the rest of our Sanskrit studying lives wrestling with these amazing things. So I just want to make the point that combining two short A's this way is one of the simplest examples of Sandhi. And we've talked a bit about Sandhi, and we'll talk a lot more coming up. Two short A's together make one long A, and that is the way it is. So we don't have time to go through the rest of this, but we'll pick it up again next week. So Marina, can you take us to the last slide, the very last one? I'm sorry, we're a couple of minutes over. I know some of you may have other obligations. If you need to leave, please do. We'll take one more minute once we get the last slide up. Oh, they're at the end. More slides to the thank you slide. More quickly so we don't see next week's lesson. All the way to thank you, please. More. Okay, so this is our next to last class. Next week will be our last class of series 2. And I want to discuss with you what's next. But please send me what you wish and what you are thinking in the chat. What would you like to do next? And remember that you are studying Sanskrit and you are spreading the Dharma around the world in this way. And I also want to remind you quickly that Geshe has taken off and is teaching actual Diamond Way in every class he taught this week in this new retreat event, The New Beginning. So please join that if you can, if you're interested in getting Diamond Way. And I will see you next week, and send questions in the chat. Rejoice, you are doing amazing things. What? Question? No. Okay. Thank you. Until next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Great.
Thank
See
you so much.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you, Svetlana. It will help you.